Traveler, Paimon, there you are.
Nahida! Bad news! We just saw the balladeer strolling around in public! Did he escape or... Ah! It's him!
Sure enough. You're here.
Hey! What are you doing in the sanctuary of Surasthana? Aren't you supposed to be lacked up?
I know you must have a lot of questions. Please, allow me to explain. It was my idea to set the balladeer free. We made a deal, and he's gonna do some investigation in Irminsul for me.
A deal? Huh. You sure you trust this guy?
What did you expect? Why do you think Sumeru would keep me around otherwise? Or maybe killing me is all you can think about. But if that's the case, why haven't you done it already?
Don't flatter yourself. It was... Nahida said there's still some mysteries in you to figure out.
Ah, so if it were up to you, you'd finish the job? Guess I had you all wrong. There I was thinking you were just getting cold feet.
Well, that escalated quickly. Not a good start. Could I ask you all to please calm down?
But Paimon's worried about you, Nahida. Don't let him trick you.
It's not every day you see people questioning the God of Wisdom's judgment. Just when you think you've seen it all.
Don't you dare try to drive a wedge between us!
As long as the terms are reasonable, I don't think there's a problem in making a deal. Even with the balladeer.
Well, I for one have no reason to doubt you. Considering you even struck a deal with the doctor.
Yes, one in which I gained valuable information. You'll come to understand more about that in the fullness of time. The balladeer's power was all but completely spent after your battle. He's no longer strong enough to be a strategic threat to us. That puts him in quite a precarious position. Plus, he's a former harbinger with knowledge of many of the Fatui's sensitive secrets. Being stuck here in Sumeru could make him a sitting duck, depending on how the Fatui plan to respond.
Wait a second. Farmer? You mean he's not a harbinger anymore?
I take no pleasure in saying this, but it seems as if the doctor had no intention of welcoming back a loser, so...
Sometimes it's you using them, other times it's them using you. Most human relationships are this way. Certainly all the stable ones are. That's how it was between me and the Fatui, and also between each of the harbingers. So as long as you have some value to offer, nobody will ever abandon you. But after recent events, even I have to admit that I'm not worth quite what I used to be. Well, if the Fatui are gonna reevaluate my utility, I need to have a backup plan for myself.
As we discussed, I don't like causing harm to living beings, and you said you need protection. So, why not join forces with us?
I think these two have made their objection to that idea fairly clear, don't you? And they're your friends, so I guess you'll be siding with them.
Yeah, obviously! Nahida, don't listen to him!
Then let's put that discussion to the side for now. We still have time. Today can be a trial run. Where we go from here will depend on how well we manage to cooperate today.
Alright, then I'll do what we agreed.
Good. Go now, and keep in touch.
Nahida, are you serious about this?
Yes. I have my reasons for this decision. In fact, I'm largely doing it for your benefit. Yes. As I told you once before, there's information about your twin in Irminsul.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that's the whole reason we came to see you today. So, you have an update on that?
Mm-hmm. You may remember me mentioning that the Fatui had not included your twin's details in the Descender category. This is an extremely important point. It's possible that the Fatui have other information that even I don't know about. And since the balladeer used to be one of them, he'll be better acquainted with this information than I am. He was granted the power to connect with Irminsul when he almost became the god of a new era. Even though he no longer has the Gnosis, some traces of its power remain in him. He can still connect. The amount of information in Irminsul is vast beyond description. Sifting through all of it without knowing what to look for would take too long, even for me. So I asked the Balladeer to search in Irminsul for any information about the Descenders. He's more familiar with this kind of information, and should be able to find it more quickly.
Exactly! Or what if... Paimon just doesn't trust him! He's treated us as enemies every time we've run into him!
I understand. But sometimes, everything is dictated by which side you're on. How things will go in the future depends on what information he brings back. And Traveler, I know what your heart desires most of all. Our minds have connected several times before. There is a corner of your heart reserved for an intense longing. A feeling of being all alone in the dark, searching for the one candle whose light still burns. As Sumeru's deity, it is my responsibility to be on guard against the Balladeer. But as someone who counts you as a friend, I want to do something for you. If this deal with the Balladeer can give you the answers you've been longing to find, then it's worth it. It's my pleasure, really. You're Sumeru's hero. You've more than earned it.
Paimon's still worried about this idea. Is there anything we can do to help?
I was going to contact you about that, but then you suddenly showed up on your own accord. Seems like we have a telepathic connection. In fact, I was going to ask you to supervise the Balladeer on my behalf while he carries out the task I assigned. Even though he only has a fraction of his full power left, that's still a fraction of a former Harbinger. If you could accompany him, it would put my mind at ease. Of course, I'll be there to help guide you through Irminsul from the outside. Great. Thank you. Prepare yourselves. I'm going to transport you into Irminsul.
Wow! It looks pretty different here compared to last time. The colors are gentler. Guess that must be because Sumeru's at peace now.
Look at that. Hot on my heels. You know, you didn't have to cut your catch-up short just to keep me company. Oh, but I guess you panicked when you realized that I might enter Irminsul ahead of you.
Shut your beak, jailbird! No way a prisoner gets to be so smug!
I understand that prisoners have to put up with harassment from the guards. But right now, I'm on temporary release. So maybe you should think about backing off a little.
Sounds like a successful rendezvous. I need to be quite clear about something. In a few moments, you'll be entering into the innermost region of Irminsul. It is an environment like no other, and the most important place in all of Sumeru. Unlike anywhere else, Irminsul's inner region consists exclusively of torrents of information. You must put aside your differences and be extremely careful as you navigate your way through. I know there are many grievances between you on both sides, but it is essential that you remain calm after entry. This is as much for your own safety as anything else.
Fine. Let's call it truce. But only until this mission's over.
Let's cut each other a little slack, shall we? We are gonna be traveling together after all. Per my agreement with Lesser Lord Kusanali, I'll be at the front. It's my job to lead the way and get rid of any obstacles in our path. All you have to do is keep your pretty eyes open and try not to fall behind.
You sure are confident. Paimon will give you that. You make it sound like you're even more experienced at adventuring than us.
If there are no further objections, I suggest we get going. Or did you need some time to mentally prepare yourselves?
Ew! Ugh, the snark on this guy. It's unbearable.
We can start now.
Irminsul access granted. Initiating connection procedure.
Is this a small sapling? Oh, darn it! Come on, let's catch up with him. Irminsul. Ooh. Paimon's never seen anything like this. And it feels like a sacred place.
Irminsul is closely intertwined with the entirety of Teyvat. Every bit of information flowing here means something. Pick your jaws up off the floor. It's time to go.
Why is it that Paimon just wants to do the opposite of everything he says?
Lesser Lord Kusanali, we will now proceed to the heart of Irminsul.
Can you still sense where the heart of Irminsul is?
Yes. Permission to begin searching for information there?
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Let's go. Stay close. Don't go running off.
Hey, so... say we did go running off in here. What would happen? What are you smirking at?
I was just imagining the look on your travel companion's face if you went and got lost. Anything's possible in here. You can't rule anything out. So if you want to stay safe, your best option is to stick close to me.
These sapling things have spread out.
Those are all packets of information from inside Irminsul. Be careful not to touch them.
It looks the same in every direction. No wonder he mentioned about getting lost. Huh. What do you know? He was actually telling the truth. Is he mocking me again? What is it this time?
There's a time and a place to lie, but this definitely isn't it. So why don't you relax your guard a little? We're here.
What a huge tree!
Lesser Lord Kusanali,
Good, you made it. Are you ready?
ready when you are.
Then please begin. Preparing to access cognitive currents. Establishing waypoint.
The Balladier's actually doing what Nahida tells him. Guess he must want to stay alive.
The rest is up to you. If you discover anything at all, make sure to share it with us.
Will do.
Huh. For once, we're the ones with nothing to do.
Traveler, Paimon, would you like to talk? Yes, I've also invited Paimon to join.
Huh? What the? We can talk to each other inside our heads?
That's part of it. Plus, we're all friends. There's nothing wrong with us talking like this once in a while.
Paimon's never tried this before. This is great! So, Paimon's been wanting to ask you something. Don't you think the Balladier's a bit of a walking contradiction? He's always talking back, but he seems to listen to what you say.
As I've told you before, there are still some mysteries for him to resolve. Things that are clear as day to me, but that he has yet to understand. Perhaps today will be the day that he finds some answers. Well done. Smart and attentive as always. So, you made contact with that part of his mind. Well, it's true. Betrayal turned the Balladeer into the person he is today.
Huh. Paimon thought nothing could get under that guy's skin. Turns out, He can get hurt and angry just like anyone else.
Everyone has a history, Paimon. Even if you're a puppet created by the Electro Archon.
Speaking of puppets, we ran into two people at the Academia today talking about an essay. Turns out their topic was about the Tatarasuna incident. Nahida, do you know anything about that?
If you mean the mysterious events, the Kabukimono and so on, yes. I know about all of that.
Really? Because from what they were saying, it sounded like lots of Tatarasuna's history is still unexplained. And most of the information we have now is just from people filling the gaps with their imagination. At least that's what they thought.
Oh? How interesting. Those two managed to deduce quite a lot through guesswork alone.
So the Gese got it right?
Well, they guessed right about one thing. Tatarasuna was sabotaged.
Must be a riveting conversation you three are having. Funny how all the good ones happen when I'm not involved.
What makes you think we're talking to each other?
Don't insult me. You're having a private conversation without me. Obviously, I must be the topic of said conversation. Of course you do. You can't have your prisoner knowing too much.
So, have you found anything yet?
Still looking. Don't get your hopes up, though. You and your twin come from outside this world. It wouldn't surprise me if there was nothing on either of you in Irminsul at all.
Wait, how did you know about that? Did Nahida tell you?
It's not like we've never met before. And anyway, you're world famous. It'd be more surprising if I didn't know a few things about you. Right now, we have to keep the peace. I'm not interested in creating more misery for myself. And making cordial conversation is something I can manage. Huh? Wait.
This light. It looks similar to those saplings. What could it be?
Anonymous data.
Hey, don't you forget the agreement. You have to share it with us.
Shh. Just wait.